The sacrifice. High Commander Vexer stood at the observation deck of the Galactic vessel's supremacy, his forearms crossed behind his back as he gazed down at Earth, a blue marble teeming with life. His secondary eyes blinked in rapid succession, a sign of barely contained amusement as he watched primitive vehicles known as satellites orbiting their planet with all the grace of a newborn Zion crawler. "Commander First Officer Raltek," he called out without turning his gaze from the viewing screen. Raltek approached with his crystalline exoskeleton catching the light from Earth's sun. "The humans are still broadcasting their response to our arrival. Would you like to hear their latest transmission?" Vexer's upper lip curled into what passed for a smile among his species. "Why not? Their panic amuses me." As Raltek activated the ship's AI to project a holographic display showing various human news broadcasts, Vexer watched scenes of chaos unfold on Earth. Their military forces mobilized, leaders made impassioned speeches while citizens either hid in fear or gathered in large groups, some celebrating and others protesting. "Fascinating," he drawled, running a tentacle across his chin ridge. "They cannot even agree on how to respond to our presence. Some want to attack, others want to welcome us, still others believe we are some elaborate hoax created by their governments." Raltek made a clicking sound with his mandibles, the crystalline equivalent of a chuckle. The Galactic Council was right to classify them as a Level 2 civilization. They barely understand the basics of quantum mechanics and their fastest ships cannot even escape their own solar system. "Indeed," Vexer agreed, turning to face the massive viewing screen displaying Earth's major population centers. "Their most advanced weapons would barely scratch our shield systems, yet they threaten us with nuclear devices as if they wielded infinity stones." The bridge crew, composed of various species from across the galaxy, shared knowing looks. They had all seen this before, primitive species reacting with a mixture of fear and bravado upon first contact. "Sir," called out Nexus, the communication officer, a serpentine being with sleek scales, "the humans are requesting to establish direct diplomatic contact. They want to send representatives to our ship." Vexer's secondary arms twitched in anticipation. "Accept their request. Prepare Docking Bay 7 for their arrival and make sure to adjust atmospheric conditions to their specifications. We wouldn't want our new friends to suffocate before we can properly introduce ourselves." The sarcasm in his voice was thick enough to cut with a plasma blade. The bridge crew responded with various forms of alien laughter, from crystalline chimes to subsiding rumbles. "Oh, and Nexus," Vexer added casually, "make sure to run a full scan of their transport vessel when it approaches. These primitives have an annoying tendency to try hiding weapons in diplomatic vessels, not that it matters, their most advanced weapons are about as threatening as a Furani tickle stick." As preparations continued for the human delegation's arrival, Vexer returned his gaze to Earth's surface. The planet's oceans reminded him of his home world, though these were disgustingly contaminated with primitive pollutants. How typical of a Level 2 civilization, they hadn't even learned to properly manage their own environment yet. "Commander Raltek," he said suddenly as he observed movement on Earth's surface through his ship's monitoring systems. "Status report on our gathering operation. 15 specimens collected so far," Raltek reported excitedly while monitoring data streams from ground teams dispatched across Earth's surface. "Most are adult humans, though our teams did manage to capture 2 juveniles." "Juveniles?" Vexer's secondary eyes narrowed in curiosity. "True," Raltek continued cautiously, "but one of them shows particularly interesting genetic markers, a female approximately 11 Earth cycles old." Vexer leaned forward in interest as Raltek displayed information on a holographic screen showing a small human female with auburn hair and striking green eyes who sat calmly in her containment cell, unlike other specimens who were either cowering or throwing themselves against energy barriers in futile escape attempts. "Subject designation, Madison Brooks," Raltek continued. "She was found in the wreckage of a research facility. Initial scans indicate abnormal neural activity and traces of unknown energy signatures. Bring her to the primary lab, Vexer ordered decisively. I want to observe this specimen personally. As he made his way through the ship toward the lab deck, Vexer contemplated what he had just learned about this unusual human child who remained composed during capture. It was unsettling. The lab doors parted with a soft hiss, revealing a sterile white chamber filled with various analysis equipment. Madison sat on an examination table, swinging her legs back and forth as if she were at one of their primitive medical facilities. "Hello," she said, unexpectedly surprising everyone by speaking in perfect Galactic standard. "Your translation matrix needs updating. It's missing several Earth languages." Vexer's upper arms twitched involuntarily at this unexpected display of intelligence from such a young specimen. "How do you know about our translation matrix?" he asked cautiously. "The same way I know you're not really here to study us," she replied matter-of-factly while looking directly at him with those striking green eyes that seemed to pierce right through him. "You're looking for something specific, something you lost long ago." Before Vexer could respond further, the lab's secondary doors opened, admitting Medical Officer Kirana, one of his crew members who belonged to an energy-based species known for their healing abilities. "Commander," Kirana greeted him in melodic tones laced with concern, "I must protest the handling of juvenile specimens. It violates at least 7 Galactic Council protocols." "Your protest is noted and ignored," Vexer replied sharply while keeping his focus on Madison, who seemed unfazed by Kirana's presence or authority. "This specimen is of particular interest," he added coldly as he studied her closely while she swung her legs playfully off the edge of the examination table. Kirana moved closer toward Madison, whose calm demeanor remained unshaken despite being surrounded by aliens who towered over her both physically and intellectually. "I apologize, young one," Kirana said softly while trying not to intimidate her further despite being an embodiment of pure energy manifesting in humanoid form. "This won't hurt." "I know," Madison replied with an innocent smile that seemed almost disarming given their circumstances. Vexer interrupted before Kirana could ask another question. "The question is how this primitive human child acquired such knowledge." Madison shrugged slightly but maintained eye contact with both aliens before responding confidently, "Maybe we're not as primitive as you think." Her words hung heavily in the air between them, a challenge that seemed almost daring for someone so young yet filled with wisdom beyond her years. Kirana glanced at Vexer uncertainly but remained silent as they both processed what had just transpired between them, a moment where roles shifted unexpectedly largely due not just because she was an innocent child but also because she possessed insight into things beyond comprehension even among higher beings like themselves. As 2 security drones moved forward intending escort Madison back into containment cells for further study later on tonight, she caught Kirana's glowing gaze again before winking mischievously, causing confusion among those present within that sterile chamber filled only moments ago by tension, now replaced instead by intrigue surrounding this extraordinary little girl whose fate remained uncertain amidst larger cosmic forces at play around them all. The unexpected power. Madison Brooks walked through the sterile corridors of the Supremacy, flanked by 2 imposing security drones. Despite her situation, she felt a strange sense of calm wash over her. The ship hummed with energy, and she could sense the tension in the air as they approached the ceremonial chamber. The Cathians had captured her, intending to use her as a sacrifice to a dragon, but deep down, Madison knew she was not just an ordinary girl. As they entered the chamber, Madison was struck by its grandeur. The walls were adorned with intricate carvings depicting ancient battles and celestial beings. In the center stood High Commander Vexer, his 4 arms crossed behind his back, exuding an air of authority. He was flanked by his senior officers, including Science Officer Kira, whose luminescent form flickered with a mix of concern and curiosity. "Welcome, young one," Vexer said, his voice echoing through the chamber. "You have been chosen for a great honor." Madison raised an eyebrow, unimpressed by his grandiose words. "Honor? You mean you're going to sacrifice me to a dragon?" Vexer's mandibles clicked in surprise at her boldness. "You are perceptive for a human child." "Yes, We intend to offer you to the Star Drake as a means of appeasing its wrath. Why do you think I'd just go along with that? Madison challenged, crossing her arms defiantly. Kira stepped forward, her energy form shimmering softly. Madison, we believe you possess unique abilities that may be linked to the Star Drake itself. There may be more at play here than mere sacrifice. Madison's heart raced at Kira's words. She had always felt different, more attuned to the world around her than others her age. She had never understood why until now. What do you mean by unique abilities? Vexor leaned closer, intrigued by her reaction. Your neural patterns exhibit traces of ancient energy signatures, something we thought extinct for millennia. Perhaps you are not just a child, perhaps you are an avatar of the Star Drake. The term resonated within Madison. She had read stories about ancient beings and their avatars in books back on Earth, stories where heroes wielded powers beyond imagination. Could it be that she was destined for something greater? Do you really think that dragon cares about me? She asked skeptically. Dragons are ancient beings, Kira explained gently. They are drawn to those who possess power or potential, those who can bridge the gap between realms. Madison pondered this as she felt a strange warmth radiating from within her, a flicker of energy that seemed to pulse in rhythm with her heartbeat. It was exhilarating and terrifying all at once. Perhaps we should conduct further tests, Vexor suggested, his curiosity piqued. Before Madison could respond, Kira gestured for her to follow them deeper into the chamber where various devices awaited them, machines designed to analyze energy signatures and neural activity. As they began the tests, Madison focused on calming herself, drawing upon whatever power lay dormant within her. She closed her eyes and envisioned herself surrounded by light, a light that grew brighter with each breath she took. Suddenly, alarms blared throughout the chamber as readings spiked on the monitors. Vexor's eyes widened in disbelief as he observed the data streaming across the screens. What is happening? He demanded. Kira's form flickered erratically as she studied the readings closely. Her energy levels are off the charts. This is unprecedented. Madison opened her eyes slowly, feeling invigorated by the surge of power coursing through her veins. I don't know what's happening, she admitted breathlessly, but I can feel something, like I'm connected to everything around me. Vexor exchanged glances with Kira before turning back to Madison with renewed interest. This changes everything, he said firmly. If you truly possess this connection to the Star Drake, we may have a chance at negotiating our survival. Negotiating? Madison echoed incredulously. You mean using me as leverage? It is a possibility, Vexor replied matter-of-factly. But it is also an opportunity for you to harness your abilities and prove your worth beyond being merely a sacrifice. Madison felt a mix of emotions, fear, anger, and excitement all swirling within her. She had been thrust into this alien world against her will but now found herself standing at the center of something much larger than herself. What do I have to do? She asked hesitantly. Vexor stepped closer, his expression serious yet intrigued. We will prepare you for your encounter with the Star Drake. You must learn to control your powers and understand your connection to it. Kira nodded in agreement, her glowing form brightening with determination. Together, we can help you unlock your potential and confront whatever lies ahead. As they began training Madison in harnessing her newfound abilities, focusing on meditation techniques and energy manipulation, she felt herself transforming before their eyes. Days passed as they worked tirelessly together. Madison learned how to channel energy through her body while Vexor and Kira guided her every step of the way. One evening during their training session, Madison stood atop a platform overlooking vast star fields beyond their ship's hull, a breathtaking view that made her heart race with exhilaration. I can feel it, she whispered softly as she closed her eyes again, focusing on that familiar warmth radiating from within herself, the connection growing stronger each day. Suddenly bursts of light erupted around them, illuminating their surroundings like fireworks painting across an inky canvas. the result of Madison's concentrated effort manifesting into reality. Vexor watched in awe as shimmering tendrils of energy danced around Madison, a spectacle unlike anything he had ever witnessed before. "This is incredible!" Kira exclaimed as she floated beside them, both filled with pride for what they had accomplished together. Madison opened her eyes, slowly realizing what she had done. She had tapped into something profound within herself, a force that could potentially change everything about their current predicament. But even as excitement filled them all, the looming threat of the star Drake still hung overhead like an ominous cloud waiting patiently for its moment to strike. The Awakening. Madison Brooks was led through the dimly lit corridors of the Supremacy, her heart racing with a mix of anticipation and dread. The security drones flanked her, their mechanical eyes scanning the surroundings as they escorted her toward the ceremonial chamber. She could feel the weight of their intentions pressing down on her, but deep within, a flicker of power stirred, a power she had only begun to understand. As they approached the chamber, Madison caught glimpses of the Cathian crew members. Some looked at her with curiosity, while others wore expressions that hinted at fear or reverence. It was unsettling, but she reminded herself that she was not just a captive, she was something more. The doors to the ceremonial chamber slid open with a soft hiss, revealing a vast space adorned with ancient symbols and intricate carvings. High Commander Vexor stood at the center, flanked by his senior officers, including Science Officer Kira. The atmosphere was thick with tension as they awaited her arrival. "Welcome, Madison," Vexor said, his voice resonating through the chamber. "You have been chosen for a great purpose." Madison stepped forward, her gaze unwavering. "You mean you're going to sacrifice me to that dragon?" Vexor's mandibles clicked in surprise at her boldness. "Yes, but it is not merely a sacrifice, it is an offering to appease the Star Drake. You may possess powers that can influence its decision." Madison felt a surge of energy at Vexor's words. "Powers? What do you know about me?" Kira stepped forward, her luminescent form shimmering with intensity. "Your neural patterns exhibit traces of ancient energy signatures, something we believed extinct for millennia. You are connected to the Star Drake in ways we cannot yet comprehend." As Madison processed this information, she felt the warmth within her pulse stronger than before. It was as if the very essence of the universe was awakening inside her, a connection to something far greater than herself. "Perhaps we should conduct another test," Vexor suggested, his eyes narrowing with intrigue. Madison nodded, eager to explore this newfound potential. "What do you want me to do?" "Focus on your connection," Kira instructed gently. "Channel your energy and see if you can communicate with the Star Drake." Taking a deep breath, Madison closed her eyes and concentrated. She envisioned herself surrounded by light, an ethereal glow that enveloped her like a protective cocoon. As she focused on this light, she felt tendrils of energy reaching out into the cosmos, searching for something beyond her understanding. Suddenly, a vision flashed before her eyes, a vast expanse of stars and swirling galaxies. In the distance, she saw a massive figure soaring through space, the Star Drake itself. Its scales glimmered like diamonds under starlight, and its eyes burned with an ancient wisdom that resonated deep within Madison's soul. "Madison," a voice echoed in her mind, a voice that felt both familiar and foreign. "You are not alone." Startled by the clarity of the connection, Madison opened her eyes wide and gasped for breath. The chamber around her seemed to shimmer as if reflecting the energy she had just tapped into. "Did you see it?" Kira asked eagerly, leaning closer. I saw the Star Drake," Madison replied breathlessly. "It spoke to me." Vexor's expression shifted from skepticism to fascination as he processed what Madison had just experienced. "This is remarkable. If you can truly communicate with it, we may be able to negotiate our survival. But what if it doesn't want to negotiate?" Madison countered, uncertainty creeping into her voice. Kira placed a reassuring hand on Madison's shoulder. "We must prepare for both possibilities," negotiation or confrontation. As they continued their preparations for the upcoming ritual, Madison felt an overwhelming sense of responsibility settle upon her shoulders. She wasn't just a pawn in their game, she had become an integral part of this unfolding drama, a bridge between two worlds. Days passed as they trained together, Madison honing her abilities while Vexor and Kira guided her through various techniques for channeling energy and focusing her thoughts. Each session brought new revelations about herself and the connection she shared with the Star Drake. One evening during training, as they practiced energy manipulation exercises in the ceremonial chamber, Madison felt an unusual surge within herself, a power that seemed to pulse in rhythm with her heartbeat. "Focus on that feeling," Kira encouraged as they worked together to harness their energies. "Let it guide you." With each breath, Madison concentrated on amplifying this energy until it radiated outward like ripples on water, surging forth from within and enveloping everything around them in a warm glow. Suddenly, bursts of light erupted from her hands, shimmering tendrils dancing through the air like fireflies illuminating their surroundings. Vexor watched in awe as shimmering waves of energy cascaded around them, a spectacle unlike anything he had ever witnessed before among primitive species. "This is incredible!" Kira exclaimed as she floated beside them, both filled with pride for what they had accomplished together. Madison opened her eyes, slowly realizing what she had done. She had tapped into something profound within herself, a force that could potentially change everything about their current predicament. But even as excitement filled them all, the looming threat of the Star Drake still hung overhead like an ominous cloud waiting patiently for its moment to strike. The confrontation. The ceremonial chamber of the supremacy was a vast expanse, its walls adorned with intricate carvings that told tales of ancient battles and celestial beings. The atmosphere was thick with tension as High Commander Vexor stood at the center, flanked by his senior officers, including Science Officer Kira, who shimmered with a mixture of excitement and concern. Madison Brooks, the young human girl who had become the center of their attention, was led into the chamber by the security drones. Madison felt a strange mix of fear and determination as she entered the room. She had trained hard over the past few days, learning to harness her newfound powers and connect with the Star Drake. Now, as she faced the Cathian commanders, she sensed that this moment would define her fate. "Welcome, Madison," Vexor said, his voice echoing through the chamber. "You have been chosen for a great purpose. Today, we will offer you to the Star Drake." Madison's heart raced at his words. "You think I'll just let you do that?" she challenged, her voice steady despite the fear bubbling within her. Vexor's mandibles clicked in surprise at her defiance. "You misunderstand your position. This is not merely a sacrifice, it is an offering to appease the Star Drake's wrath. You may possess powers that can influence its decision." Madison took a deep breath, feeling the warmth of energy within her pulse stronger than ever before. "I'm not just some pawn in your game," she declared firmly. "I won't let you use me." Kira stepped forward, her luminescent form flickering with intensity. "Madison, we believe you possess unique abilities linked to the Star Drake itself. We need to understand this connection." "Understand it?" Madison echoed incredulously. "You mean exploit it?" Vexor's eyes narrowed as he regarded her with a mixture of intrigue and annoyance. "If you truly have this connection, then you must cooperate. The Star Drake is not to be trifled with." Before Madison could respond, alarms blared throughout the chamber as readings spiked on the monitors. Vexor's expression shifted from skepticism to fascination as he observed data streaming across the screens. "It's here!" Kira exclaimed, her voice filled with urgency. Madison felt a surge of energy within her as she sensed the presence of the Star Drake approaching, an ancient force that resonated deep within her soul. She closed her eyes for a moment, focusing on that connection. Suddenly, a massive figure appeared on the viewing screen, a colossal dragon-like creature soaring through space with wings that spanned miles. Its scales glimmered like diamonds under starlight, and its eyes burned with an ancient wisdom that sent shivers down Madison's spine. "Prepare for contact," Vexor commanded sharply as he turned his attention back to Madison. "You must be ready to confront it." "What if it doesn't want me?" Madison asked, uncertainty creeping into her voice. "It will want you," Vexor replied confidently. "You are its chosen avatar." As they prepared for the ritual, Madison felt a mix of emotions, fear of what was to come and determination to fight back against those who sought to control her fate. The chamber was transformed into an arena of sorts. Ceremonial markings were drawn upon the floor while Vexor and his officers took their positions around it. Madison stood at the center, feeling both vulnerable and empowered. "Channel your energy," Kira instructed gently. "Focus on your connection to the star drake." Madison closed her eyes again, envisioning herself surrounded by light, the same light that had guided her during training sessions. As she focused on this light, she felt tendrils of energy reaching out into the cosmos once more. The atmosphere in the chamber shifted as if responding to her call. Shadows danced along the walls while sparks of energy crackled in the air around her. Suddenly, a deep rumble echoed through the chamber as if responding to Madison's invocation. The star drake was near. Vexor glanced at Kira nervously before turning back toward Madison. "Prepare yourself. The star drake is coming." As if summoned by their words, a blinding flash illuminated the chamber as the colossal figure of the star drake materialized before them, a majestic being radiating power and ancient wisdom. The dragon landed gracefully in front of Madison, its massive form dwarfing everyone present. Its eyes locked onto hers, burning like twin supernovas, and for a moment, time stood still. "Child of Earth," it spoke in a voice that resonated deep within Madison's mind. "Why have you come before me?" I'm here because they brought me," Madison stammered nervously but then found strength in her conviction. "But I won't be sacrificed. I have power too." The star drake regarded her for a moment before responding with an air of ancient authority. "You possess potential beyond your understanding, a connection forged through generations long past." Madison felt warmth radiating from within as she embraced this truth. She wasn't just an ordinary girl, she was part of something much larger, a legacy intertwined with cosmic forces. Vexor stepped forward hesitantly, attempting to regain control over the situation. "Great Star Drake. We offer this child as tribute, an opportunity for peace between our species." The dragon turned its gaze toward Vexor, its expression inscrutable yet filled with wisdom from ages long forgotten. "Peace cannot be bought through sacrifice," it rumbled deeply. "True peace arises from understanding and unity." Madison seized this moment, her heart pounding fiercely in her chest, as she stepped forward boldly between Vexor and the dragon. "I can help," she declared passionately. "I can connect us. Let me show you how we can work together instead of fighting." Vexor's eyes widened in disbelief at her audacity while Kira looked on with hope mingled with fear, uncertain how this confrontation would unfold. "Child," said the star drake gently yet firmly, "you stand at a crossroads where destinies intertwine, yours and those who seek power through fear." Madison took a deep breath and focused on channeling all that energy within her, the light that had guided her thus far, to forge a connection between herself and this magnificent creature before them. "Together," she said softly but resolutely, "we can create something new, something powerful enough to change everything." The chamber fell silent as both Vexor and Kira exchanged glances filled with uncertainty while Madison stood resolute before them all, a beacon of hope amidst chaos waiting for destiny itself to unfold.